Sir, with the recent parliament session being completely washed out, and the fact that food bill was debated many times, but it could not parliament was not allowed to function. So what is the government thinking of getting its two major legislations through before elections?
Well, obviously, we are very disappointed. We went out of our way to create a consensus amongst all political parties, and I'm happy to say that all political parties responded very positively. We incorporated many of their suggestions. I can speak directly as far as the land acquisition bill is concerned. Two crucial amendments suggested by Sushma Swaraj ji were accepted. Some amendments suggested by the CPM were accepted and introduced, and 9 political parties gave their comments in writing, and I personally went and met each of them and gave them our responses. And same on the food security bill as well, which Professor Thomas was leading. Now the point is that we went out of our way to create a consensus. Unfortunately, Parliament didn't function. We want both these bills to be passed. These are our manifesto commitments, but these may be Congress commitments, but these are bills that all political parties now have a stake in. All political parties want a new land acquisition bill. All political parties are wedded to a food security bill. There's a national consensus on this. Now what do? I mean, we are stuck because we want this legislation, but unfortunately there doesn't seem to be the prospect of Parliament running smoothly. So of course, I think my own personal view is that we should have a debate in Parliament, a 2-3 day structured debate on both these bills. Each political party gets an opportunity of highlighting what its point of view is, and my view is that we should pass it the democratic way, the really democratic way, the Nehruvian way, which is to get it through in Parliament. And I hope that we'll be able to do it, if not in the monsoon session, perhaps in a special session. But that's a decision I'm not going to take. That's a decision that the Parliamentary Affairs Minister and others will take. But I think the ordinance route should be the last resort. The first resort should be to see it through Parliament.
Sir, you are clearly saying that if in the monsoon session you are unable to get the bills through, then you will think of a special session and also the ordinance route, is it?
No. The special session could be before Parliament. It could well be before the monsoon session. I'm not saying that timing has to be decided by the Speaker, by the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, and so on. But all I am saying is, we must ensure that both these bills are passed after a debate in Parliament. Now, whether we have an ordinance, because the ordinance also has to be debated in Parliament, it has to be converted in 6 months, it has to get into law. That is a political decision that will be taken by the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, the Prime Minister, the Chairperson of the UPA, and all those people.
But that option is open.
But right now all options are on the table. Right now there is an ordinance option, there is a special session option, there is a monsoon session option. If you ask me, my personal view is that I think all of us are agreed. I think everybody wants a debate in Parliament. I think all political parties want a debate in Parliament, and it's really tragic. Personally, I feel very let down and disappointed that after so much of effort at creating this consensus, we couldn't even have a debate in Parliament on both the food security bill as well as in the land acquisition bill. Of course, there are many people who are very happy with this result. There are very influential lobbies who were against the food security bill. There are very influential lobbies against the land acquisition bill, and they must be laughing that, see, we got what we wanted.
Within the
but I
Congress
think
party
in
or
the
in
national,
opposition?
no, I'm not saying within or outside, I'm just saying influential lobbies. All I'm saying is that it is in the national interest to get both these bills debated, considered, debated and passed in Parliament.
So in terms of priority, then you would think of a special session first, then the monsoon session, and then the ordinance.
I am no one to think. I mean, I'm an apparent chick. This has to be done by the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, the Prime Minister, the people who do. Speaker has to be closely involved in this. After all, the Speaker has to be completely in tune with this. And of course, the discussions have to be held with opposition parties. So that's not something that I can speak on. All I can say is that a special session is an option. I mean, it's certainly one academic option. Is one. If you're asking me what are the options, there is an option. Ordinance is an option. A special session is an option. A monsoon session is an option. What is not an option is non-passage of these two bills.
So my last question, the CPM has clearly said no to an ordinance, both for the food bill and land bill, and your ally Sharad Pawar has also spoken to the Prime Minister saying discussions are absolutely essential, indicating that ordinance was not an option even for the NCP. So how do you manage, if there is no parliament session, if there is no special session, how will you manage to convince these parties, and what are the political risks of having an ordinance?
No, I think that question you must ask Mr. Kamal Nath, because he anchors the parliamentary strategy, I don't. All I can say is that my own personal preference, as I said, is to have a debate in Parliament, whether it is in a special session or the monsoon session, time alone will tell. Although there is no guarantee that a special session will be run smoothly. There is no guarantee that the opposition will not create some new demand so as to ensure that the monsoon session also does not function. But those are risks we have to take. And the ordinance is always a last resort option.
Sir, the opposition parties would say that had these two ministers resigned earlier, then perhaps parliament session would have been saved, and there was a real chance for your two bills to be passed.
I don't have anything to say on that. All I can say is that we went out of our way, and I think every opposition party will acknowledge this in its heart of hearts, if not publicly, that we went out of our way to create a consensus. And create a consensus does not mean this is my view, take it or leave it. It's actually incorporating the other points of view. I've given you an example of two crucial amendments which we accepted, which were suggested by Srimati Sushma Swaraj, and also got the support of Mr. Sharad Yadav. And we welcomed it, and we incorporated it. And if we were running in, I would have said had there been a debate in Parliament, I would be the first to get up and say these are what would be called the Sushma Swaraj amendments, because they were suggested, or the Sharad Yadav amendments, they were suggested by them. This is we are not playing a game of credit here. It's not posturing. I genuinely feel that these two bills are in the national interest. All political parties want it, so let's just get it done.
Is there a rift between the Congress President Sonia Gandhi or the party and the Prime Minister's office or the Prime Minister, sir?
I think this is all, a figment of a feverish media imagination. Time and again it's been clarified, that it's the party that forms the government. Our political system, parties contest election. Individuals stand on party tickets, party symbols, party platforms, party ideologies. Ours is a party-led democratic system. Party gets elected, party gets a majority, party gets invited to, leader of the party gets invited to form a government. Party members join the government. So, I have not come from outside, I have come from the party. So, it's because of the party that I am here. So there is this dichotomy between party and government is artificial, because it's the party that has made the government. They're extension of one another. And at a time when government takes tough decisions, the party has always supported. Take the nuclear agreement. It's the party that responded magnificently. Take the multi-brand retail. It's the party that responded magnificently. You take whenever there has been a hike in oil prices, in LPG prices, kerosene prices, diesel prices, it's the party that's come out in support of the government. So there is no dichotomy. I think this is all, as I said, this is all the result of having 800 channels, 24 hours, 7 days a week, and each channel trying to increase its own TRPs.